I think that's the key. He never thought we'd see them. I mean, I think, listening to the lies that Tucker Carlson promoted and other personalities on Fox News, I often thought they can't possibly believe these lies. They're too smart for that. But I never thought they would put in writing their own belief that these were lies. And, it shows the lack of foresight to think that there might be accountability at some point.
Dominion's $1.6 billion defamation suit against Fox News has showed us the network's panic in the weeks following Donald Trump's 2020 election loss. And the New York Times reporting this. Like the Republican Party, Fox wants and needs the support of Trump fans who both dominate party primaries and form the core of Fox's viewership. Well, the truth matters, but only if you hear it. But after Trump's election defeat, many Fox personalities absolutely disregarded the facts to tell their audience exactly what they wanted to hear. So let's discuss with Basil Smykel, Democratic strategist and former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party, and my old friend Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee and former lieutenant governor of Maryland. Basil, today Lachlan Murdoch complimented Fox CEO Suzanne Scott, saying the brand is incredibly strong. Now, we might laugh at that, but is he right? Loads of people are tuning in tonight. Right? They haven't backed off from any of this. They've got hardcore viewers that tune in 24/7.
That's true. And you can tell from all of the reporting that they were very concerned about their brand and their viewership. It is true that a lot of viewers have left for another network because they wanted to sort of go deeper into that silo. So I imagine that at the moment Fox is trying to figure out not so much how to bring those viewers back, although that's part of it, but also how to maintain the ones that they currently have. So I suspect they'll sort of drill down, double down on Trump, and if it's not Trump and it's DeSantis, they'll double down on that too. But ultimately, this is about ratings. This is about eyeballs. And because I'm in classrooms a lot and I teach a lot of students and I try to center the students and the voters in all of this conversation, the challenge is getting them to believe us when they watch us on TV. And that is really, for me, that's one of the hardest parts of this, to make my students believe that we're actually telling the truth here about civic engagement, about the importance of going to vote, and about what they're hearing when the votes actually get counted.
Well, that's about reporting the news as a public service versus creating TV shows. Michael Steele, fun fact that people might not realize about you. You were once a Fox News analyst. In fact, you used to sit in for Sean Hannity. Do you see the network having changed? I mean, yes, it was always a right-leaning network, but there's a very different picture to say, oh, we're a right-leaning network. We know the kind of content we cover, and changing our stories, changing our outcomes to suit what the viewer likes and wants. That's very different from news.
It is very different from news. And the time I was there, it was a very different environment. I mean, it was almost sort of that blossoming moment for Fox. I was there between 2007, when I left elective office in Annapolis, until I became chairman of the National Committee in 2009. And there was a different kind of energy and vibe. Now, there were still these undercurrents. There was still this sort of restlessness in the base, but it hadn't metastasized in a very negative way. It was just, disgruntled, comments and concerns here and there. Fox would occasionally sort of level that up a little bit, depending on what it was, usually around an issue like abortion. Certainly every January when the March on Washington would occur. But it wasn't this constant drumbeat, to Basil's point, that, there was this push for the viewership. The viewership was actually, Stephanie, a lot more organic. It wasn't forced. It wasn't this sort of grab them and hold them. People wanted to stay. They gravitated. I know a lot of progressives, not so much then at that time known as that, but liberals and Democrats who watched Fox. Roger Ailes began on our network here at MSNBC. There was, so there was this sort of symbiosis that worked out there. The thing to keep in mind to your first question, though, and I really think it's an important one, is that Fox News on the first night, Tucker Carlson aired the crap that he aired, put that package together, 4 million viewers. 4 million people watched it. So, this is all about that end game. And they're much more desperate for it and to play it today than they were just, 12, 13 years ago.
But reminder, those 4 million people, he had 44,000 hours of video, and in total, he aired less than 4 minutes. More time was spent in that program for an interview with Russell Brand. New topic. And this stays in these conspiracy theories, though, and the dangers of them. I want to share what Republican Congressman Mike Johnson said today at the so-called Weaponization of Government Committee hearing. Watch this.
This is the playbook. They destroy the messenger. We just saw it here on live television, and everybody can see it for themselves. Over the past 3 years, documents show, they prove what you guys have uncovered here. There's communication between Twitter and the FBI. It was constant. It was pervasive. Twitter was basically an FBI subsidiary before Elon Musk took it over.
That's the Twitter files nonsense, right? So this goes right back to the truth matters, but only if you hear it. And there's lots and lots of people who don't hear the truth. So what do you do with that?
Well, the problem as I see it is that even in weaponizing these issues and these committees, there's this alternate narrative that is being promoted. And my concern for the voter is that amid all of these different narratives, they don't choose one that is the sort of right one. They don't choose the one that I think Democrats and Republicans can agree this is how things went January 6th before and after. My concern is that they look at this as sort of a cognitive dissonance. They'll just step away from it. So it is really, really important that Democrats spend as much time as they can shooting everything down as it comes up and says, no, we went through this already. This is what happened. This is what we can agree has happened. And this is what we're going with. And the reality is that Democrats did it so well that they were able to get independents and disaffected Republicans to agree with them in the midterm elections. Now we just got to keep that going.
And Michael, what happens, though, when time runs out and the lies run out? Look at just today, Eric Swalwell fired back at Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan in his own hearing. Watch this.
I think it's quite rich that we are talking about subpoena compliance under a chairman of the full committee who was absolutely out of subpoena compliance in the last Congress.
So there you go. Swalwell showed the subpoena that Jim Jordan ignored. Michael, isn't Jim Jordan, aren't these other guys going to look like fools when they said, we're going to have this committee, and then the committee comes up with bupkis?
No, they're not, because everybody. I know, Stephanie. They're not. We are in that space where what's up is left and what's down is outside, and nothing makes sense. People, the sort of discordant sounds and tones. People don't care about it. They're what they're focused on, particularly when you're looking at a specific audience. They want to own the libs. They want retribution. Donald Trump standing there saying, "I am your retribution." Trust me, there were people who stood up in their living rooms applauding when they heard that, and we, on Earth One, are sitting there looking at it going, "What the hell is wrong with these people?" But the reality of it is there are a lot more of them. And what you see Fox doing and what they have done very effectively, and this is how Jim Jordan can sit there and go, well, no, I'm not doing the subpoena, but when I subpoena you, you better show up, is they create a rabbit hole. And what are rabbit holes? They're mazes. You get lost. You don't know which direction you're going in. And that's what they're taking with the media, with the politics. They're putting it all in a rabbit hole. And they're sitting there going, figure it out.
All right. Millions of people might believe it and might watch it, but millions more that are not hardcore politicos in this country, people just living their lives, going to work, putting their kids through school, are going to say, I thought we're talking kitchen table issues, and I haven't heard one brought up. Basil Smikle, Michael Steele, good to see you
7 million
both.
more people voted for Trump in 20 than 16. And they were at that same kitchen table.
You know what? You're right. And I hate saying that to you, Michael. Hate it. Good to see you.